News near Desert Hot Springs. What deputies are telling us about two people who were shot just a short time ago. And a deadly crash in Thermal, how the victim was actually trying to save others.
First in the Coachella Valley, you're watching KMIR-TV Palm Springs, where the news comes first. KMIR News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of KMIR News. I'm Angela Monroe.
And I'm Vince Marino. We start with some breaking news out of Desert Hot Springs. Police are investigating after two men were shot. It happened around 4:30 this afternoon near the intersection of Via Montana and Camino Aventura. Two men suffered gunshot wounds. Police couldn't give us their conditions. They also couldn't give us any suspect information. We'll bring you any updates as they come into the newsroom. We're also trying to get more details on a deadly crash in Thermal. It started a little after 8:30 this morning along Harrison Road in Thermal. CAL FIRE says a tractor hit a guide wire, knocking down a pole and some power lines. A pedestrian who tried to warn other drivers was instead killed at the scene. One car crashed into a pole and there was a small fire. The road was closed for several hours until the pole was repaired and fallen power lines were cleared off the road. CHP says the crash is still under investigation. They have not identified the victim or said how that person was killed.
A San Francisco police officer shot in the line of duty is now expected to survive. The officer was responding to a report of a disturbance at a mall. When they arrived, the officers tried to approach a person. That's when the suspect started shooting. One officer was hit in the head. He was rushed to the hospital, and the police department says that he is expected to survive. The suspect was eventually taken into custody. Black Lives Matter protesters took to the streets of El Cajon overnight, demanding justice in a recent fatal police shooting. They blocked streets in the San Diego suburb, chanting, "No justice, no peace." These protests have been taking place off and on since September 27th. That's when 38-year-old Alfred Alongo was shot and killed by police. Officers say Alongo appeared to pull out a gun and pointed at them. It turned out to be an electronic cigarette instead. There were no reports of violence or arrests at last night's protest.
Riverside County Sheriff's deputies are now allowed to better protect themselves in the field. Sheriff Stan Sniff announced that first responders can now wear additional body armor and get access to specialized ammunition. Previously, that was only available to SWAT teams. Sheriff Sniff says the change is being made due to the growing number of attacks on officers. And the Palm Springs Police Officers Association says a drive-through fundraiser was a huge success yesterday. Local TV and radio stations teamed up to show support for the Palm Springs Police Department and the families of officers Jose Gilvega and Leslie Zarebny. The fundraiser started bright and early at 5 yesterday morning. By the time it was over, $250,000 was raised to help the families of those two fallen officers. Now, if you missed the fundraiser but would still like to help, the Palm Springs Police Officers Association has set up a fund for the victims' families. They have a link on their website, palmspringspoa.com. You can also make donations at any Bank of America branch in the Coachella Valley. Also, this reminder, memorial services for the two Palm Springs police officers have been scheduled for next Tuesday, October 18th. That's at the Palm Springs Convention Center. The ceremony will begin at 11 a.m. The public isn't invited to attend, and if you can't make it, we will carry the memorial live here on KMIR. The Palm Springs Parks and Recreation Commission and United Cerebral Palsy of the Inland Empire came together today to host the Heroes in the Park event in Palm Springs. I was there this morning to catch all the action. Take a look. A week after the city of Palm Springs suffered a devastating tragedy, the community came together to celebrate those with special needs.
I feel it's very important for a city like Palm Springs to offer these programs, these little events, because this is how different individuals with disabilities, this is how we network, this is how we make friends, this is how we feel a part of the community.
The event marked the dedication of the city's all-inclusive, state-of-the-art playground.
We want an inclusive place so kids with disabilities could play with everyone, just like everyone else. And that's what every park in the country should be, and Palm Springs is being a leader in this.
The importance of which cannot be overstated.
For me personally, I'm in a wheelchair, and like when I meet a different person with a disability, it makes me feel normal as possible, and it gives me a sense of belonging.
Palm Springs Police Chief Brian Reyes accepted the Community Heroes Award for recognition of his service to all residents and visitors of Palm Springs, including those with disabilities.
It's humbling, but it's not about me. You know, I'm obviously the chief of police for the police department. That award is for us overall in what we do every day. And unfortunately, it takes a tragedy, which just occurred, to shine the light on what all of our officers do every single day, and we're grateful for the support.
Coachella Valley native and professional boxer Timothy Bradley came out to bob and weave for a good cause.
It's great for these kids to be able to come out here and have a playground basically just dedicated to them, you know, and they can come out here and play, and other kids can too. So just being a part of this is what it's all about, man. It's all about part of giving back.
Over the past 2 years, the city of Palm Springs has completed several Americans with Disabilities Act projects like audio pedestrian traffic signal push buttons and hundreds of upgraded accessible curb ramps.
Now, while more people are conserving water, they're also noticing that their bills aren't getting any smaller. Today was Desert Garden Community Day, so CV Water Accounts hosted a session to better explain to gardeners and others how water rates work. Water districts have fixed costs for the infrastructure to deliver water to people here in the desert. So when people conserve and use less water, they also pay less. That means districts need to adjust their rates to cover costs, they say. And it also showed people ways to create desert-friendly yards that use less water.
Well, this is our 11th annual, and we started 11 years ago with a couple of the water agencies and a couple of like-minded organizations like the Living Desert to show folks in sort of a easy to understand and easy to access way to learn about using desert plants in our local landscapes.
CV Water Counts is a group that promotes water conservation for most of the water agencies here in the Coachella Valley. In the race for the White House, the final debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is Wednesday.
Clinton is mostly staying off the trail to prepare, while Trump is spending today on the stump in New England. NBC's Chris Polone has the latest.
In New Hampshire, Donald Trump unshackled.
And right now, she's resting for the debate.
Once again questioning Hillary Clinton's health and going even further than that.
At the beginning of her last debate, she was all pumped up at the beginning. And at the end, it was like, oh, take me down. So I think we should take a drug test. Anyway, I'm willing to do it.
The call for a drug test caps a dark week for the Republican nominee. At least 9 women have accused Trump of inappropriately touching them, much like he described on that bombshell 2005 Access Hollywood tape. NBC News has not verified the women's claims. Trump has taken to attacking his accusers and telling supporters the election is rigged if he loses.
It's a rigged election because you have phony people coming up with phony allegations with no witnesses whatsoever, ending up from 20 years ago, 30 years ago. How about this crazy woman on the airplane?
Supporters have made clear they're with him no matter what he says or does.
He's a good man. He has a good heart.
He comes across as an underdog to me. Maybe an underdog that tends to shoot himself in the foot, and I hope he gets a little bit more on the issues in here, but that will not change me.
But the latest NBC News electoral map shows Trump with a narrow path to victory. Clinton is leading in nearly every battleground state and appeared confident at a Friday night fundraiser.
If we do our job in 25 days, Donald Trump will stop being on the news every single day.
23 days left in one of this country's most unusual presidential campaigns. Chris Polone, NBC News, New York.
At his New Hampshire rally, Donald Trump proposed a new anti-drug policy, which includes tighter border restrictions and tougher sentencing for first-time drug offenders.
Well, Brian's going to tell us about it in just a moment, but if you haven't gone outside, well, wait till the newscast is over, but there's a sight you're going to want to see.
Brian, what do we got?
Wait till the newscast is over. Smart woman. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. What she's referring to is our supermoon, also known as a hunter moon. This thing will peak at 12:23 tonight. We'd like to encourage you to step outside, take a picture, and send it to us. It's going to be beautiful, nice and full. Again, 1223. Wind advisory is closely upon us. Goes into effect tomorrow, due to expire Monday morning at 11 a.m. This is going to bring winds mainly to the North Palm Springs, Gorgonio Pass area and high desert, but we will see gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour. So dust and sand kick up, just be aware. Today we had a high of 93 degrees here in Palm Desert. On average, we see a temp of about 89 degrees with lows right around 66. The cool down has begun. 83 degrees, open clear skies, and a dew point of 51 with some wind pickup. I got more detail for you coming up in your full weather. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Brian. Well, people celebrated in style at the Living Desert today. The zoo hosted La Gran Fiesta. The big party was a chance to celebrate Hispanic heritage. Zoo visitors enjoyed mariachi bands, folk dancing, arts and crafts, and authentic Mexican cuisine. It was a chance for the Living Desert to show off some of the animals important in Hispanic culture.
We have a large Hispanic population, and we're just open to inviting the entire community to come out and spend the day with us.
Guests also received a pepper plant cultivated and grown at the Living Desert. Coming up after the break, a violent brawl as gunfire erupts at a party.
And the latest details from Los Angeles police about the shootout that left 3 dead and dozens injured.
And he grabbed attention without saying a word. We'll bring you the story of a very animated deaf interpreter who helped save lives during Hurricane Matthew.